The last echoes of Earth's demise reverberated through human memory like a distant thunder. They had once believed themselves invincible, masters of their destiny, secure in the cradle of their homeworld. But when the cataclysm came, it left humanity scattered across the galaxy, reduced to a band of survivors, forced to seek refuge among the stars. They carried their ancestral stories and the lingering sorrow of a world turned to cosmic dust. Over time, they came to be known simply as wanderers. They roamed in colossal vessels that bore the scars of centuries, welded hulls, modular expansions, and ghostly echoes of Earth's lost architecture. Some ships were shaped like the old skyscrapers of Earth's grand cities, repurposed as floating enclaves with thruster arrays grafted onto steel foundations. Others resembled retrofitted cargo freighters, or top-secret experimental craft once hidden in classified orbital shipyards. Yet each shared a unifying emblem, a stylized Earth featuring a single tier that crossed the continents. It was said that every scratch, every dent in their vessels carried a fragment of humanity's final tragedy. Across the galaxy's frontier, an impromptu alliance of alien species had stood witness to the human exodus. Some looked upon the newcomers with curiosity, others with apprehension. Tales of Earth's downfall spread and regressed into rumor, magnified into legendary proportions. That the humans' homeworld had been sacrificed to an unholy power or consumed by an ancient star beast. The truth was perhaps simpler, an unstoppable cosmic storm, or maybe an advanced enemy that annihilated Earth for reasons unclear. Still, the shadows of Earth's end left an indelible sense of dread wherever the wanderers set foot. In time, the name wanderers became synonymous with desperation and tenacity, two qualities known to make a dangerous combination. Though seldom openly welcomed, the humans had honed their resilience and technical prowess, forging alliances when it suited them, trading goods and services too valuable to ignore. They might have had fragile souls, but their minds were sharp as laser-tipped swords, and their hearts were cast from the strongest resolves. As the decades stretched on, they carved out an unmatched reputation across the sector. Within the spaceports of countless worlds, a hush would fall when the wanderers arrived, the people who had outlived their planet, carrying its memory in everything they built. Wherever the humans went, the rumor mill churned out tales of how they were either blessed with miraculous luck or cursed by the ghosts of their destroyed world. Everyone knew that if you threatened them, you had best be prepared. Despite their losses, they remained fierce. They might temporarily trade technology, fix your warp drive, or rid a planet of lawless raiders for the right price, but they would also never forget the bitterness of betrayal. There were accounts of entire fleets that had vanished after incurring human wrath. But in every story, beneath the awe and fear, there was a quiet current of respect, as if the galaxy was paying its due to a people who refused to die. Many star systems reached out with cautious overtures, intrigued by the human skills. Governments offered them land. Rebel factions proposed alliances born of desperation. Corporations dangled unbelievable wealth in front of their wanderers, hoping to exploit their knowledge. Yet, through it all, the humans kept their own code. The memory of Earth was too raw, the longing for home too strong, to let them be tethered anew. They traveled under the solemn vow that no single planet would become their anchor. They arrived, bargained, toiled, fought, and then left just as quickly. They carried everything they owned in the hulls of their drifting armada. One such armada glided into the Ogaran system, an unremarkable region of space on the fringe of a dwarf spiral arm. It was a constellation of battered cruisers and sleek corvettes, accompanied by Leviathan living ships whose horticultural decks contained plant species saved from Earth's ruin. At the spearhead flew an ancient vessel known by the whisper of its engines, the Aurora's Vigil. The hushed hum of its drives was like the calm before a storm. Set against the backdrop of starlight, the Auroran system revealed a single habitable planet named Barun. It was an agrarian world, Famed for its high-protein reeds, a small, aspiring empire, the Hochar Dominion had nurtured Perun for centuries, relying on its major exports to feed industrial centers deeper in the Dominion. When the Wanderers came calling, Perun's inhabitants knew well what that implied. They would need to prepare tributes, or risk the humans' infamous alternative. Commander Leandra Quarles stepped onto the command bridge of the Aurora's Vigil. She carried herself with a dignified poise, tall and lithe, with streaks of silver in her braided hair. Her uniform was a tactile blend of old earth ballistic cloth and newly woven fabrics. Pride and sorrow flickered in her gaze. A luminous star chart hovered above the table at the bridge's center, displaying a live feed of Perun's orbit and the orbital station that served as the planet's main docking center. "Status?" Leandra asked, her voice crisp. A younger officer, Elias Stone, renowned for his comedic spirit and gold-flecked eyes, responded, "We've been granted docking clearance, Commander, but they gave us a tight slot. Seems they're wary about our presence." Leandra's lips curved slightly. "They're always wary. Keep it cordial. Let them know we come in peace, unless we have to do otherwise." Elias turned with a grin. "Prepare the usual welcome gift?" She nodded. "Yes, simple gestures can open many doors. At the same time, hold a small strike team in reserve. We know too well how quickly a smile can turn to a snarl." Across the Dominion's starbase, the dock workers craned their necks to watch as the Aurora's Vigil aligned with the docking clamps. Towering over neighboring ships, fragmented plating bearing the stylized Earth and Tyr emblem, the Vigil was a testament to centuries of scrounging, salvage, and cunning modifications. Hydraulic vents released a sigh of pressurized air. The gangplank extended with the hum of age-old pistons. Human figures in patchwork armor stepped onto the station deck, each stride purposeful, like long-lost conquerors greeted by uncertain subjects. At the head of this modest delegation was Commander Quarles herself, accompanied by Elias Stone and a half-dozen others. They were met by the station manager, an alien figure with elongated arms and layered folds of fleshy ridges around its neck. It fidgeted under the human's stares, uncertain whether to cringe or maintain a facade of confidence. "Greetings, humans," the manager said. Its voice was digital and monotone, emitted through a translator embedded in a chest plate. "I am Overseer Zoros of the Hochar Dominion. I welcome you in the name of Venerable Regent Hochar III. May our meeting be profitable." Leandra bowed slightly. "Overseer Zoros, we come seeking trade. Our journey is long, our cargo holds in need of supplies, but we bring technology and knowledge that might interest you in exchange." The station manager beckoned them forward. "Follow me, if you please. Our negotiation hall is just beyond this corridor." Elias tossed one of his unit mates a knowing glance. The walls were lined with Dominion guards brandishing shock lances, their eyes tracking every movement of the humans. Polite fear laced the air. Yet the humans scarcely seemed to notice. They had grown used to such welcomes. In the negotiation hall, representatives of Perun's surface government had joined the overseer in an elaborate chamber. A central table glistened beneath large overhead crystals, refracting colored beams across the polished floor. Commander Quarles and her retinue seated themselves, their posture as calm and composed as if this were one of countless deals that humans had made in countless stations, each layered with unspoken menace. The Dominion made their demands known first. They needed advanced scanning arrays to improve their planet's yield of the reed-like crops. Supposedly, that would double their agrarian output. The humans listened in silence, unmoving, unblinking. Then, Leandra spoke, her voice measured. "We can provide you with arrays able to detect molecular changes in your soil, maximizing yield. However, what we require must match the value of that technology." "What do you require?" asked Overseer Zoros, not bothering to hide the tremor in its tone. "Firstly, safe harbor for our vassals, repairs if needed, fuel, food," Leandra listed. "We will pay you for such goods, But we also want to acquire a portion of these high-protein reeds. Our horticultural decks have been compromised by recent cosmic radiation, and we need new genetic stock. One of the Dominion officials, a short, broad-shouldered figure with gleaming eyes, leaned forward. Your request is acceptable, so long as you do not attempt to replicate or sell the genetic codes of our reeds to outsiders. That is exclusive property of the Hoshar Dominion. We also have other terms. You must vow to keep our world's location and defenses confidential. Elias exchanged a glance with Leandra. We're not in the business of sharing secrets, he interjected. We keep more of them than you can imagine. Commander Quarles gestured for calm. You have my word, Overseer. Is there anything else? A hush fell. Then the Dominion's consul, who had watched with an astute gleam in their eye, added, We also have certain disruptive elements on Baruin. Rebels, bandits, call them what you will. They've been plundering the satellite settlements, hijacking shipments of our prized reed. We have reason to believe these marauders might be peddling stolen product on the black market, harming our commerce. We request your assistance in dealing with them. A subtle shiver rippled through the humans. They had spent countless years acting as mercenaries for fractured worlds, stepping into conflicts when the price was right, and leaving once the dust settled. Normally, they insisted on a thorough briefing before signing onto a new fight. But Leandra had a simpler approach. We can discuss the terms, she said. But be aware, if we do your fighting, we set the condition. Some small part of the Overseer's posture relaxed. We are prepared to pay well, the Dominion fair rates for your services. Thus began the arc of negotiations, each side making small concessions, until at last the agreement was sealed with biometric signatures and a ritual exchange of gifts. The humans presented a carefully wrapped container of earth seeds, one of the last few hundred samples, for symbolic planting in the Dominion's honor. In return, the Overseer offered a glistening crystal formed from the planet's soil, enhanced with the local geological anomalies, to be displayed aboard the Aurora's Vigil. All parted ways, confident in the self-interest that bound them together. Later that evening, Commander Quarles stood by a wide corridor window, gazing out at her ships. A swirl of starlight glinted off the battered hulls. Elias approached quietly. What do you think? He asked. The Dominion is obviously not telling us everything. They never do, she replied, her voice distant. But we need those supplies. And if we can earn them by ridding the planet of bandits, so be it. Our children are hungry. Our fuel is depleted and Earth is not coming back. Elias followed her gaze into the void. We do what we must. She exhaled. We do. Come, let's plan the mission. Early dawn on Barunu's surface found the humans descending through a smog-tinged sky. The settlement they targeted was a sprawling grid of prefabricated metal huts and open farmland, dotted with horizon-spanning fields of the famed protein reeds. Though the Dominion had tried to quell uprisings, the local militia was woefully outmatched. According to intelligence, the rebels were well impulsed and cunning. As the humans' dropships landed, the local militia parted like a wave, unsure how to greet the silent figures in patchwork armor. Commander Quarles and her strike team advanced through lines of watchers. Her second-in-command, a rugged pilot named Jobin Pierce, scouted ahead with weapon drones that hummed overhead, scanning the perimeter for disturbances. Following coordinates from the Dominion, they located a cluster of rusted warehouses by the settlement's outskirts. Inside, the bandits stored stolen reeds and weapon crates. Over the months, they had even established a makeshift fortress, welding scrap metal into barricades. The approach was littered with pitfalls, alarm triggers, and hidden turrets. The sunrise cast a pale glow over the farmland as the humans deployed. They moved with an efficiency that impressed and unnerved the militia, who maintained a safe distance. Leandra's heart thumped in her chest. She did not relish the bloodshed to come, but she knew her people needed the Dominion's payment. The seeds of Earth were close to extinction. The horticultural decks required new life as soon as possible, or the last vestiges of Earth's green legacy might wither. Elias signaled that the approach was clear, and the strike team advanced. A renegade sentinel spotted them too late. Within seconds, half a dozen expertly placed pulses rendered the watchers stunned. The humans unleashed wave after wave of carefully calibrated blasts, disabling the warehouse's perimeter. Suddenly, an alarm shrilled, echoing across the fields. The fight began in earnest. Bristling at the incursion, the rebels retaliated with surprising sophistication, launching heavily modified mag shells capable of breaching standard body armor. Bright streaks crisscrossed the morning sky, leaving trails of smoke. The battered farmland erupted with pulses of energy as arrow-sharp reeds snapped underfoot. Leandra barked orders. The humans coordinated, forming a tight wedge that advanced step by methodical step. Their armor shimmered with integrated personal shields, a testament to centuries of scavenging and integration of alien tech. They pressed the bandits hard. The battle was swift but savage. A few humans fell, caught off guard by hidden snipers or improvised explosives. Their comrades grimly neutralized the threats. Old trauma from Earth's destruction fueled them. Every lost human was a ghost returning to haunt the survivors. Soon, the main rebel fortification fell. Some bandits fled into subterranean tunnels that laced the farmland's underbelly. But the humans sent pursuit teams guided by scanning drones. One by one, the rebels surrendered or fell to well-placed stun blasts. At last, with the rebel base overrun, Leandra and Elias moved deeper into the largest warehouse. They found rows of crates brimming with stolen reeds, alien firearms, contraband medical stims. Suddenly, a figure burst from behind a massive crate, energy blade raised. Elias reacted first. He fired a non-lethal shot that knocked the attacker off balance, sending them sprawling. Leandra rushed forward, pinning the rebel's arm. As the figure's hood fell away, they revealed a young face twisted with desperation. The rebel spat words in an alien dialect, eyes blazing with hopeless fury. "What did you say?" Leandra asked quietly while tactically disarming the rebel. The youth repeated it in broken standard. "We needed freedom from the Dominion. They hoard the harvest, forcing us to pay impossible taxes. Our children starve while off-worlders feast on our sweat." There was a tremor in Leandra's chest, an echo of Earth's memory. Even while fulfilling her mission, the pained eyes of the young rebel drew out her compassion. "What is your name?" "Scifi," the youth replied, still trembling. "We only wanted what was fair." Leandra fell silent. Duty weighed on her, along with the knowledge that she had just ensured the Dominion's power would remain unchallenged. But her people could not survive on principle alone. She stared at Scifi for a long moment. The shattered illusions of the entire galaxy seemed to funnel into that exchange. "We are not your enemies," Leandra finally murmured, "but we cannot let you stand in the way of our people's survival." She ordered Scifi taken into custody, ensuring no violence would befall the young rebel. The rest were rounded up and handed over to the Dominion. That evening, scanning arrays were delivered courtesy of the Wanderers as promised. Supplies swapped hands, fueling the Aurora's Vigil and its sister ships. The humans relocated vast batches of Barun's reeds for their horticultural decks, making certain to uphold their part of the agreement by not replicating the Leith's genetic code for outside sales, at least for now. They loaded their wounded aboard the dropships, rejoining the main fleet with stoic resignation. During the official farewell ceremony, Overseer Joiros sang the praises of the humans' prowess. The Dominion's delegates clapped their elongated hands. Speeches praised the centuries-old perseverance of Earth's children, while Quarles and her officers stood as motionless statues, hearts heavy with the knowledge that once more they were mercenaries in a cosmic chess game. A respectful if tense hush settled across the station as the Wanderers made ready for departure. "All is done," Elias whispered to Leandra. "We'll be free to go soon." She nodded, adjusting the tier and planet emblem etched on her left pauldron. "Yes, another job completed." "How are the horticultural decks?" Engineers say the new reeds are compatible, she replied. We'll have them growing soon enough. At least the children will have something more nutritious. That's worth all these burdens, Elias. He tried to smile, but his eyes flickered with memory. Do you remember any of Earth's forests? I was too young. I do, Leandra said softly, recalled images welling up in her mind. Leafy canopies dancing in the sunlight, the earthy scent after rainfall, the horizon stretching in infinite green. It was beautiful once. They gazed back at the station, at the planet beyond, at the Dominion, an empire of questionable ethics, whose star rose over fields of near-endless farmland. Out there in the docks, the different nomad ships that formed the rest of their ragged fleet burned thrusters in anticipation. Their exodus from Barun was imminent. They had done what they had to do for their clan to endure. Such was the new reality for Earth's lost children. Survival no longer allowed for illusions of righteousness. Their moral lines blurred with every star system they left behind. Soon, shimmering engine lights guided their ships away from Ogeran's space, receding from the Dominion's outposts. Many saw them as living warnings, remnants of a world that had been destroyed, left to roam the galaxy. The terrifying part wasn't just those unstoppable weapons or cunning minds. It was the emptiness that followed them, a sorrow too great to name, fueling them to risk all for survival. News of the Wanderers' triumph over the Barun rebels spread quickly. In the galaxy's labyrinth of politics, word of the humans' ferocity reached far. Heads of various governments and exiled lords scribbled fresh notes to themselves, while black market dealers whispered of contacting the Wanderers for their own covert needs. Rumors of systems that needed strong arms to quell uprisings, or to repel pirate fleets, or to sabotage rival planetary dynasties, these were the channels in which the humans' name traveled. Not all was condemnation. Many revered them as heroes when a warlord's tyranny needed foiling. Their moral compass was twisted, but not entirely broken. After a slow journey through a desolate sector of space, the human fleet arrived at an uncharted region known for cosmic anomalies. Here, swirling gravitational eddies threatened to tear lesser vessels apart. But the Aurora's vigil was guided by centuries-old star charts gleaned from defunct civilizations. Within the roiling space, a faint signal pulsed, the fabled Telestrian Gate, an ancient warp corridor rumored to connect distant arms of the galaxy. Leandra believed that finding the Telestrian Gate might hold a new future for humanity. If they could cross that threshold, entire uncharted regions would open up. Perhaps there would be a rightful place for the displaced children of Earth. As they approached the swirling anomaly, the local starlight bent and refracted bizarrely off the vigil's hull. Space itself seemed to ripple, a kaleidoscopic shimmer dancing across the void. The task was fraught with danger. With each passing hour, the gravitational flux spiked, sensors shorted momentarily, and stray debris glided unpredictably through the swirling dark. But hope inspired them forward. They had always lived on the brink. Those who flinched at risk perished. Those who pressed ahead found new ways to persist. For the Wanderers, there was no other path. Inside the Vigil's command center, tech-savvy crew members manipulated archaic code sequences gleaned from ancient Telesrian scripts. At last, the gateway began to respond. Luminous arcs pulsing around a central vortex. A swirl of prismatic energy opened in a ring-like structure, revealing a corridor of starlight beyond. Goosebumps prickled across Leandra's arms. Even from the vantage of the command deck, the gate's presence felt almost alive. One by one, the ships prepared to enter. Smaller corvettes locked into formation around the Vigil. The air thrummed with an electric hush. Elias exchanged a tense glance with Leandra, who gave him a silent nod. Ever so slowly, the lead vessel eased forward, the swirling energies enveloping the forward hull. For a moment it disappeared from real space sensors, as if swallowed by the cosmos. Then, in a final burst of brilliant light, the rest of the fleet followed, forging into the unknown. A wave of disorientation battered the crew. Lights flickered, gravitational stabilizers fluctuated, and the hull moaned under the cosmic stress. It felt like descending into an atmosphere made of shimmering crystal. But after a moment that stretched into eternity, the vortex spat them out into calm, star-flecked emptiness. The sensors came back online. New constellations blazed across the panoramic windows. They had arrived in another sector, so distant that all prior star maps were effectively useless. The comm channels came alive with excited chatter. Technicians scrambled to identify potential worlds or signals. They quickly realized this region was uncharted for a reason. It was a deep pocket far outside known trade routes, with no recognized beacons. Star formation patterns suggested a younger part of the galaxy, possibly rife with uncolonized worlds. For the Wanderers, it was both exhilarating and daunting. Over the week that followed, scout ships fanned out, cataloging nearby planetary bodies. Several worlds showed promise, one with lush jungles, though scans indicated potential megafauna threats. Another was a rocky planet with abundant water hidden beneath icy caps, and yet another was a swirling gas giant offering a wealth of rare gaseous elements. The humans set to charting them all in hopes of finding a place to rest, to resupply, or possibly even to settle, though the vow to remain nomads still held firm. They would not become anchored until they found a reason that truly honored Earth's memory. It was during one of these scouting missions that Jovan Pierce's corvette vanished. Alarmed, Leandra immediately dispatched a search party. Elias personally piloted a sleek recon craft that soared through the empty vacuum, probing for Pierce's last known coordinates. The tension in the Wanderer's channels was palpable. Losing a corvette was no trivial matter. Many whispered about monstrous cosmic entities. Others blamed gravitational anomalies. After hours of searching, Elias located faint energy residue. He followed the trail to the orbit of a small ringed planet. Hidden beneath the planet's shadow, a gnarled metallic structure loomed, a gigantic warship or station of unknown origin. A hush settled across the search party. This silent behemoth dwarfed even the Aurora's vigil, shaped like a multi-limbed predator. Its hull bristled with menacing spines, battered by centuries of drifting. Eerily, it appeared to be operational at some level. A few lights blinked around strategic points. What if it was no mere derelict? Elias tried to hail the vessel repeatedly, receiving nothing but static. Using enhanced imaging, they spotted the corvette pinned against the superstructure by an unseen force. Alarm spiked in Elias's chest. He initiated a careful approach. As the recon craft drew near, a ripple of energy flicked out from the giant ship. Suddenly, half the instruments on Elias's craft died, leaving them in a swirl of panic darkness. He fought the controls, sending a desperate comm signal. "Pull back, it's attacking the electronics!" Most of the search party managed to retreat before their systems fully collapsed. Even so, Elias and two other craft ended up drifting, powerless. The giant vessel loomed closer, as though preparing to ensnare them. Thoughts raced through Elias's mind. Was this an ancient defense mechanism from an extinct species? Where was something alive in that monstrous hull? Commander Quarles, receiving the distress calls, wasted no time. She rapidly organized a rescue operation from the Aurora's vigil. Dozens of fighters and boarding craft launched, each shielded with advanced electromagnetic insulation gleaned from past salvage. Their plan: get close enough to disrupt the enemy field, free the corvette in the stranded recon craft, then escape before they too were rendered helpless. Braving the same energy pulses, the rescue team advanced in disciplined waves. Fighter pilots used decoy drones to drain the vessel's power surges. Meanwhile, a specialized boarding party led by Leandra Quarles herself landed on a stable docking ridge, forced open a sealed hatch, and entered. They found themselves in dark corridors lined with strange symbols. The walls covered in metallic vines like petrified nerve clusters. Guttural humming filled the air, telling them the ship was more alive than not. Flashlights swept across an entrance to a cavernous hall. There, they discovered Jovan Pierce and the corvette's crew sealed in restraining cells. Automated turrets and silent mechanical sentinels listlessly guarded them. The humans fought valiantly, overcame those defenses with a combination of cunning and brute force. They unlocked the cells, helping the corvette's battered crew. Jovan, pale but unbroken, gripped Leandra's arm in relief. She forced a grim smile. "We'll get you out." Amid the success, a deeper threat emerged. Strange mechanical constructs lunged from unseen alcoves, their limbs bristling with rotating blades or energy arcs. The halls lit in strobe-like pulses, a rhythmic pounding akin to a monstrous heartbeat. Leandra's team retreated in tight formation, forced to exchange relentless fire. It felt as though they had awoken a dormant giant that now sought to devour them. With each corridor they navigated, the background humming grew more ominous. Force fields crackled into place behind them, sealing off routes. Elias, freed from his disabled craft by a small salvage unit, joined the fight. Sweat glistened on his brow as he assisted in fending off wave after wave of mechanical monstrosities. The entire vessel seemed designed to repel any intrusion, though it was unclear what it was protecting. Finally, the humans made it back to their boarding craft with the rescued crew, leaving behind a destroyed array of hive-like drones. Just before sealing the hatch, Leandra glanced back along the corridor. For a heartbeat, she caught the image of something large in the gloom, an arm-like appendage or perhaps a twisted set of instruments that responded to her gaze with flickering light. A chill passed through her, but more hostiles scrambled their way, so she slammed the hatch shut. Safely detached from the enemy hull, the humans soared back to Aurora's vigil. As soon as the last craft was on board, Leandra gave the order to depart. The giant vessel's outer lights flickered in a dizzying pattern, as if silently calling them back or cursing their departure. The wanderers had never been so eager to flee. They left behind the small ringed planet and the monstrous derelict, determined to avoid that region for the time being. They had reclaimed their people, but mystery and fear haunted them. Word of this near-fatal encounter spread throughout the fleet. Some believed it proved that new beginnings in this sector might be more dangerous than any conflict they had faced before. Others argued that if they harnessed the technology in that craft, they could become unstoppable. The debate fizzled only when Leandra admonished them that survival mattered most, that resources were finite, and that they were still reeling from the cost of the last mission. Yet a spark of curiosity remained. The humans were, after all, wanderers by circumstance, but explorers by heritage. They had reached for the moon once. On Earth, they had soared to Mars and beyond, forging an interstellar civilization. When Earth died, they carried with them the spirit of exploration. Hardship had made them dangerous, but at their core, they were still the children of a world once brimming with wonder. As the weeks passed, the fleet drifted deeper into the unexplored territory. Occasional supply stops at new asteroid fields provided raw materials. The horticultural decks reported successful integration of Baroon's reeds, a triumphant success that kept many happily fed. Seeds from Earth began to sprout too, carefully tended in specialized compartments. Among the thick-limbed vines and fluttering leaves, children played and listened to stories about Earth, about forests, oceans, and cityscapes that once glowed with neon. The older generation watched with sad smiles, hoping these green shoots would embody a living testament to what was lost. One evening, as the fleet coasted quietly near a pale green nebula, Leandra delivered an address that was broadcast to every ship. It came from the heart, shaped by the trials they had faced. "We are the fragments of a dead world," she began, voice trembling slightly. "But we are not dead ourselves. We bear Earth's legacy, in our minds, in our ships, in our bodies. We are feared for our unwavering will to survive, but we must also remember what we once meant to each other. Family, neighbors, a community. Out here in the star-flecked dark, we are each other's guardians." Her eyes roamed over the command deck, over the feed that connected her to thousands of humans across the fleet. "We will remain nomads. but we carry a torch that can illuminate any galaxy we traverse. We will fight if forced, but we also wish to preserve life, to sow seeds that might flourish long after we're gone. Let us keep wandering. Let us remain united, guided by the memory of Earth. A hush settled on every deck as the broadcast ended. For a moment, the entire fleet felt like a single being, breathing together. Parents and children, officers and laborers, the wounded, the old and those unborn yet named. This was humanity's battered tribe, forging on. They did not know what tomorrow might bring, whether they would be seen as saviors or marauders, but it no longer mattered. In forging their path among the stars, they had discovered the essence of who they were. Perhaps that was the only home they truly needed now. Us. Under the faint luminescence of a distant nebula, the wanderers stirred their engines once more. The flotilla stretched like a moving constellation, forging ahead to the next unknown horizon. They carried Earth's memory in their hearts and Earth's ambition in their bones. Whether the galaxy revered or reviled them, they would continue to endure, their spirits as vast as the cosmos itself. They were the living echoes of a lost world, a people adrift, feared and respected in equal measure, bound to no ground but their own unwavering bond. And so they journeyed on, leaving trails of legend with every new sunrise,